Well, good morning everybody. Welcome to day one of my 3 days of introducing you to simple steps to beating stiffness. Sorry, I don't know if you missed that first bit. Anyway, hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me, and more importantly, well done for showing up, for giving yourself some time to actually look after yourself and invest in basically making your body more robust and helping you move more freely. So, who am I? For those of you who don't know me, my name's Ros Shuttleworth. I'm a chartered physiotherapist. I qualified back in '96. I worked in the NHS. I worked in elite sport. I worked for Worcester Rugby Club, Birmingham Solihull Rugby Club. I moved to Nottingham. I've worked for Nottinghamshire County Cricket Club, England under-19 cricket team. And since having our daughter, I then went self-employed. So I've had my own private practice for 13 years now. And in that time, I've had the pleasure of working with hundreds of people and helping get them moving more and understanding about their bodies and moving more freely. So, why are you here? Hopefully you're here to because you think it's time to take some control of your body. You want to learn more about how to move more easily, how to become more confident in your body. So, when I was a kid, I remember me and my brother played hockey. I was watching, he used to moan about the old men who couldn't move around the pitch very well. So these old men were kind of in their 30s. And little did he realise that he would soon become one of those old men who can't get off the floor and play with his kids. And so little did I know that he would be one of the inspirations for me to start doing this programme. I'm sorry, I'm looking at myself, it's really weird, it's strange. Anyway, right, I'll get into the flow in a minute. So today, what am I going to do? I want to talk to you about why I want to get people moving more. I want to explain to you the concept of movement versus exercise, and then go through some barriers as to why we struggle to stick to an exercise programme, why we can't move as we'd like to, and then go through some simple homework with you. It is simple, don't worry, just gets you thinking about yourself and what you want to do. So, more about me. It's not all about me, but just for a second. In my teens, as a kid, I loved sport, principally athletics, and unfortunately, in my late teens, I got injured. So that was kind of hampered my career. I went through into my 20s. Then I just dabbled with sport until I got to my 40s, and I just had some unfinished business. I wanted to prove to myself that I could still do these things. I used to be a heptathlete. As a kid, I represented South East England in the high jump. So in my 40s, I wanted to say that I can still run, jump, throw, hurdle, do the 7 events that I used to do. So I took up vets athletics and actually became British champion in the heptathlon and the pentathlon. So I proved to myself that I could do all these things, and my body could still move in all these different ways, albeit a little bit slower. And I loved it. I didn't love the 800, obviously, who would? But the other stuff I loved doing, and loved being with all these other people. And also what I noticed was, at these events, so masters, basically you hit 35 and you become a master, a vet. There were people 35 up to 80s doing all these amazing things with their bodies. So they were running, jumping, throwing, moving in all these different ways. And so it just proved to me that we can actually still do these things. Stiffness isn't an inevitable part of ageing. And so I just thought, why aren't many people doing this? Like, there's thousands of people that do 5Ks, marathons, half marathons, whatever, yet not many people do the multi-events, hence my gold medals. And I just thought it was really sad. But then I thought maybe it's because we don't have the confidence to be able to move, that we think we can move in those ways still. And that's where I come in. I just thought that actually, with my knowledge and my experience I've done strength and conditioning, so I've been a physiotherapist for 25 years. strength conditioning, various movement courses. Basically, professionally, I just love analysing and helping people move better. So I just thought I can help these people, I can help more people to get moving more and get more out of their bodies. After a couple of years enjoying athletics, I got a bit too competitive with myself, and because I wasn't achieving what I wanted to achieve, I decided I should knock it on the head and follow my sister's advice and not do competitive stuff and just do stuff for the love of it. So followed her and my brother-in-law to do some non-competitive open water swimming, and I've been loving that. Actually, before that I did netball, back to netball, but that career, very short career, was hampered by COVID. So yeah, swimming in the lake now with nature is what I love doing. I love walking around the lake, exploring the park, which we'll go on to later, and do some running, interval stuff, nothing long distance, obviously, but just enjoying moving, do my movement classes, and just yeah, more stuff for the sake of moving really, rather than for the competitive part of it. We are all different. I'm not saying competition isn't good, because we're all different, and we'll go on to that later about what you, or tomorrow, about what you want from your physical activity. So some people love sport, some people love gyms, and some people just don't. So any of these things are great, whatever you enjoy, just as long as you're moving. When we had our daughter 14 years ago, when she was little, we used to go to the playground, and I'd be intrigued to see all these parents just standing around watching their kids moving. So if you think about, you visualise a playground, so you've got parents standing around having a coffee, chatting to their mates, moaning about how sleep deprived they are, and the kids are just running around asking to be pushed on the swing, but they're running, they're jumping, they're swinging, they're climbing, whatever, and the parents are just standing there not really moving. And I just think it's, again, that's sad that they can't join in and be moving like the kids are, because the kids are laughing, having fun, and the parents are just exhausted, to be fair. And then parents will come home and they possibly think, like, I've got to get fit. So they've done nothing, and then they go and sign up for a HIIT class, or Couch to 5K, or join a gym, all of which are great. But if you've been doing nothing and then you just suddenly sign up to these things, then quite often you break, or you get fed up because you're not quite fit enough to do it, you're not enjoying it, things hurt, it's too hard, and you stop. And so this programme I've written, I think, fills that gap between doing nothing and getting back to doing something. So whatever it is you want to do, we all need to be physically conditioned enough to do that. So we just get deconditioned, again, which I'll mention in a bit, and we just need to be ready to exercise, really. So with all the best intentions, we often fail because it hurts, because we get bored, because we can't stick with it, whatever. So what is movement? What am I talking about when I talk about movement? Well, it's been said that movement is food and exercise is supplements. So we need to be moving throughout the day in loads of different ways to fully nourish our bodies. Basically, if you sit around all day at a desk, not really moving in many directions, or sit around, whatever you're doing, just not moving very much, and then at the end of the day, you're like, right, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to beast myself, I'm going to do an hour at the gym, and go for a run, I'm going to play a sport, whatever it is, you're actually just taking supplements. You know, you've not had your decent meal for the day, you're malnourished in a movement sense. And that's when issues happen. So if you have deconditioned your body by not moving all day, you're then going to try and do some sport and suddenly ask lots of it later in the day, and your body's going to react and object, and you're going to get hurt. And then you're going to say, well, I can't do sport because if I run, running's dangerous because I hurt myself, or hockey or netball, whatever it is. But actually, they're not the problem. The problem is you're deconditioned throughout the day. You're just not moving enough. You haven't got the foundations, the fundamentals. If you think about when we're kids, so when we're born, all being well, we develop, we learn to roll, we learn to sit up, we learn to crawl, to stand, to walk, to squat. We progress, we learn to climb, to hang, to swing, to jump on things, off things, under things, push, pull, all that stuff. Then in developed countries, we tend to hit the teenager years and we just sit still. And we do everything in a straight line. So you're at your desk at school and you're in a car getting taken to places. Then if you do sport, if you're running in a straight line. If you're cycling, that's in a straight line. If you're running cross-country off-road, then that's better because you're moving around a little bit. But all these things are straight lines. Team sports are better because you're moving all over the place. But we just don't move in all those different ways. We don't, say go to the playground, we don't hang, swing, climb, jump, all those things that we used to do as kids. And our bodies are suffering for it. So, I've just sat here for how many minutes and not moved, and you possibly have too. So, how often do you ever, unless you're a swimmer, how often do you rotate your arms fully backwards? How often do you turn your body? So a little test for you now. If you are sitting down, just see how far you can turn to the left. So keep your bum still, keep your pelvis still. I'm on a swivel chair, so that wasn't good planning. Okay, so turn your ribs to the side as far as you can. Imagine you've got headlights on your chest and just see how far you can turn to one side. So you've got 0 degrees there, 90 degrees there, what degrees? So 30-ish, and then that side. And now, turn to the first side again. Hold on to the side of your chair. You can't see. So hold on, and you pull, so you're pulling yourself around a little bit further, and then you're pushing yourself away. So you're pulling and pushing on the chair to activate the muscles to rotate you both ways. Keep breathing. So just pull and push. Then turn to the other side and do the same. So pulling and pushing. And now, turn again. Have you got any further? Where have your headlights gone? Hopefully you will have turned a little bit further there. So that's just a very simple example of things we can do to help get us moving more. As I say, if we're not doing these things through the day, then we're just going to get stiffen up and be deconditioned. So it is a vicious circle, because if you don't exercise, you will get stiffer. Then you try and exercise, it hurts, you can't do it, you get upset, so you stop doing it. And as I say, it's a vicious cycle. But hopefully this programme can help overcome that and just get you moving better. So what are we waiting for? What is stopping us? What do we all, well not all of us, some of you are very good at sticking to your movement programmes, to your exercise. Other people start something and then just quit for various reasons or don't even start. So you need to think about different things that are stopping you. So things like, I haven't got enough time. Now, do you genuinely think that's true? So I can't believe that none of us have got 15 minutes a day to move, to exercise. We all scroll through our phones, you're on social media, on watching TV, whatever it is. You can sacrifice some of that to get moving, to start doing something. If you genuinely cannot find any time at all, your day is that jam-packed with work, with kids, with chores, etc., then you can integrate things into what you're doing already in the day. So if you're standing and cooking, you can be doing different things. You can learn to move in a better way as you're going about your daily chores. When you go for a walk in the park, you can start moving around. You don't have to walk in a straight line. You can go off-road, go off-grid. So don't just walk in a straight line on the pavements. Go up and down on the grass. If there's bollards, you can weave in and out of the bollards. Step up and down on logs, on rocks, etc. If you find a tree branch, then just reach up and hold onto a tree. If you've got a dog, take your dog out, run around with the dog, throw the ball, chase the ball. If you've got kids, run around like them, like play frisbee, just chase them, just copy what they're doing. there's just so many ways you can just integrate more movement into your day. Tomorrow we're going to talk about what you like. So, no time. I don't have anyone to do it with. Okay, well, I know at the minute it's difficult because of COVID. We're not allowed to see people, well, one person in the UK at the minute. But you can do stuff virtually. So if you want to buddy up with someone and say, right, at this time, let's do it on Zoom, or you can go for a walk, you can go for a run, you can do something outdoors with one person. Or if you want to stay inside, just get a buddy to do it on Zoom with. Or say, right, at this time I'm going to be doing whatever, and report back in, check back in with them. If you don't know where to start, then tomorrow we're going to talk about what you really want, what you want from a sport and an exercise, physical activity, because maybe you've been looking for the wrong thing. What are the other things? Time, people can't afford it. Well, things don't cost. There's lots of things you can do without costing anything. But I'd certainly say there's loads of decent exercise things you can do, but I think there is this gap that's between not being able to do things and starting these other things. I think there's lots that can be done, which I just so happen to have written a programme about. Okay, right, I've whistled through that, spoke a bit fast because I was nervous, sorry. So, what else can I talk about? My programme. So basically, what I've done is I want to get people moving more. I think it's really sad that we get to a certain age and we think that we can't move anymore, or we can't do things like we used to. I think we can, and I think there's a lot of good advice out there, but I think there's also a lot of not so good advice, and that people are just jumping ahead. People just think, if you're stiff, well, I've just got to stretch. Well, actually, that's not necessarily going to help, because you may have really lax joints, but you haven't got the muscle control to move it. If muscles are in spasm, if you stretch them, then you've got nothing to hang on with after that. So you're loose, but you then haven't got the control. We need to relax muscles, we need to activate muscles, we need to mobilise nerves. Again, I'm ahead of myself, this is what I was going to talk about tomorrow. Right, your homework is that I'd like you to think about your barriers to movement. So what is stopping you from moving? So some of the things I've said, or if there's something else that I've missed out, then please write it down. There's in the units bit, I've put a picture of the two things. So what are your barriers to movement, and what do you think you can do to overcome it? So I shall stop there and see you back here tomorrow at 9:30, where I shall go through your homework. So you can either send it to me, you can either post it on the comments, or send it to me privately if you wish, or email info@getactiveliving.com. So tomorrow I'm going to go through that and talk about a few things you may have come up with that I've not mentioned. I'll go into more details about why we're stiff and what we can do to overcome it. I'll introduce lymph, the importance of lymph and lymph drainage, and then talk about what you want from your physical activity, and why you might not be getting it because you're possibly looking in the wrong place. So there you go. Thank you very much for joining me, for getting up, for staying up, yes, think about what's stopping you from moving, and I shall see you again tomorrow and look forward to hearing what you have to say. Thank you very much. Bye. Have a nice movement-rich day.